Well, hello, good afternoon everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back and today I've got an interesting video for you. Today I want to talk about these single burner Coleman stoves. Now, starting off here on the left, we have the model 502, we have the model Feather 400, we've got the 508, the 533, and on the end here we have the 550. Now, all these stoves at some point have been fabulous, and I'm here to kind of talk about each one. Let's start off with this 502. Okay. This is probably the oldest one of this bunch, 502, and it has worked great for many years. I'm going to turn the lights off for a second so that we can get a better view of the flame pattern here. Okay, when it comes to the 502, this stove is probably the easiest one of the bunch to operate. I mean, they're all simple. This one's easy to work on. You basically have, let me see if I can blow that out. You got a valve here that turns the fuel on and off. Okay, so to light this one, what you'll do is you'll take this valve and you'll turn this valve 1/4 of a turn, and then you'll hear it hiss. Let me get my lighter, and then you can light the stove, and it lights very easily. Then once the stove is lit, on the side here there's this little lever, and this lever is basically a cleaning needle for the generator and the jet. So if you want more flames, you can let this thing come facing away from the stove, and then to control the flames, to get a little bit of simmering ability, you'll just face it towards the stove. And this stove is very simple to operate. It's very easy to use. The flame isn't as high right now as it can be. I've been running a lot of gasoline and stuff in this stove for a long time, so the performance right now is not as good as it could be. I think I need to take this one apart and clean it up a little bit, but this has been a fabulous stove for me for many years. I just love the model 502. So again, this is the oldest one in the bunch. Moving up, we have the Feather 400. Now, just for the sake of this video, I want you to know that all of these stoves are burning regular gasoline right now, okay? So when it comes to the Feather, it's very simple. You have a lever right here that does everything. It turns the flame off, and it also controls your flame. So if you turn this lever away from the stove, you'll get higher flames. Looks like this one needs to be cleaned too, because I've been using gasoline in it. The generator needs clean. So we're not going to see a lot of performance out of this one. I just brought it out for the sake of the video. But this is a fabulous stove if you keep the generator clean and you burn white gas in it. It doesn't really like gasoline too much, because like I showed, you kind of lose a little bit of performance once you burn gasoline a lot. Now, it's very easy to clean the generator on this stove. Very simple. You have on the side here, you have 2 little screws. Take those off, and then you have 1 nut. So you need a crescent wrench and a Phillips, and you can take that generator off, clean it. It's extremely easy, and then this stove performs very well. It performs just as good as all these other stoves next to it, but again, it doesn't like gasoline too much. So let's go to the next one in the group here. We have the 508. This one is fabulous. Definitely one of my favorites in this bunch. So basically you have an on-off valve here. So it's either on or off. That's all this does. And then what's cool about this one is on the back side you have this little lever that increases your flame. Okay, the more you turn it to the right, the more flame you're going to get. So that would be full throttle. And then again, if you come back to the left a little bit, you can see that you can bring this thing down all the way to a simmer. So you can just slam this thing to the left, slam it to the right. And this stove is very easy to use. To light it, it's real simple. Once you pump it up, you just turn this valve on away from the stove, and then come to the back here, turn this thing on high, light it, and then come back down to like medium and let it prime and everything. And this one has been running gasoline for a long time, and it still runs great. It runs good with gasoline. So the 508 is definitely a good stove. Now it looks like my 400 feather here might have died on me, so let's see if we can get that one going again. Yeah, it's just generator's clogged up on this one. It is what it is. No problem. So let's move forward. Let's move up to the 533. This is a good stove as well. Very reliable. Very easy to use. Very similar to the 508, with one exception. This valve is the only valve that you have on the whole stove. That turns it on and off, and it also controls the flame. There's no other valve on the back side like the 508 had, which makes this one very simple. It's easy to clean the generator. Just like the 508, we have two screws right here, and then we have a nut right here, and that's how you take the generator off. In fact, I think this one and the 508 and the Feather, I think they all three use the same exact generator. So for this one, to turn it on, you'll just put this lever down a little bit, light it, and then basically the more you push the lever away from the stove, the more flame you'll get. Okay? Fabulous stove. Works great with gasoline, just like the 508. It's just a great stove. These two right here, the 508 and the 533, are hands down my favorites out of this group. They're just fabulous stoves. They're easy to control. In some cases, though, I really do believe that I like this 508 the best. This one is just, it works good. It's a good stove, easy to control. I like having this ability to control the flame from the back side. But the 533 is fabulous too. I mean, they're both excellent stoves. Now right here, we're talking about the 550. Now this stove is extremely easy to work on. You have one screw that basically takes pretty much everything apart. You need a crescent wrench to take the generator off, and a smaller Phillips screw to get this out. And the stove is pretty easy to work on. It's very simple design, but when it's running good, it's my favorite one of all these because of the simplicity of it. To light it, you'll just run this down to about here, and then light the thing, let it prime, and then you can adjust your flame by going up or down. But recently, this one has been losing pressure, so I don't know what's wrong with it. I got to look at it and see what's going on. So the ones that are not having issues for the most part is the 502. I hardly ever have issues with this 502. It's a great stove. The 508 always runs good too. It really does. Both of these stoves are fabulous. You can see that the 508 has a lot more horsepower than the 502. And of course, the 533. These three are my favorite as far as simplicity, ease of use, easy to maintain. When you got to work on them, all three of these are fabulous. And they all love gasoline. The 550 over there, excellent stove when it works good, but when you have a problem, I don't know what's going on with it. So from my personal experience, the Feather 400 and the 550 have been the most finicky out of these stoves when it comes to using gasoline. 502, 508, and 533, they don't care. You can run white gas, you can run gasoline. They all perform extremely well. As you can see, the 502 doesn't have as much BTUs as the 508 or the 533, but it's a lot heavier, it's a lot older too. So these two right here, definitely my favorites out of this group. Here is the 502 up close. It's a great stove. Here is the 508. We're going to turn that bad boy on. Let's get it lit. And we'll come around to the back side here. And let's just play with this lever. Fabulous stove. Nice flames. It's quieter than the 502. And then excellent flame control. It's a good stove. And now the 533. So we'll turn this down just a little bit. You'll hear it hissing. Give it a little light. And then of course, the further you move this away, the more flames you get. Looks like it needs to prime a little bit more. I turned it off a minute ago, so let's let it warm up a little bit, warm up that generator. And then of course there you have it on full tilt. So this is a fabulous stove, great power, great flame control, easy to operate. You got one lever that does it all. Nice simmering ability. I like this one in the 508 because the fuel tanks are larger too, so they hold a little more fuel than the rest of these stoves. Just a fabulous, fabulous stove. I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video looking at some of these single burner Coleman stoves. I hope you got some good useful information out of this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below, like this video, share this video, and until next time, have a beautiful day. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now. Look at those flames. You can't boil water on those. I don't know what's wrong with you. Fabulous. And they love gasoline. The 502 is no different.